Okay, VanderMeulen Bladeworks. Jeff VanderMeulen. When you first hear the name Jeff VanderMeulen or VanderMeulen Bladeworks, my guess is what comes to your mind is this model here, the double homicide. I think it's probably the most recognizable model that he has. I could be wrong. You let me know down below, please. When you hear VanderMeulen Bladeworks, what do you think of first? I always thought of the double homicide. And I'm super honored to own this one. Okay. And then I ended up with the Homosaurus. And I should just put something in frame to compare. This is the Spydercodelica. The Homosaurus is something Jeff is not making any longer because there's only 4 of them out there and he just doesn't like making them, which is totally fair and that's good. All right, so, but there are other more user-friendly, if you will, models that he makes. This is called the Barely Legal. Okay, there's also an Instigator version. And again, here with the Spydercodelica. And I'll do some other size comparisons towards the end, as I usually do. But this one was loaned in by Karsten. And this one is a super user-friendly. Now, it is still a big knife. Okay? It's still on the bigger side. But much more practical, much more carryable, much more EDCable than either the double homicide or the Homosaurus. Now, I think some of Jeff's more reasonable knives is the Instigator. Okay. And I have done a video on the 6-inch Instigator, and I'll put a link up in the corner. But let's just talk about this one here. Let's zoom in real quick and give you a close-up look. Really nice hand-rubbed satin finish blade. Damascus bolsters, which I love because it's got the hidden hardware. You can't see the pivot. It also means that you can't adjust the pivot very easily if that were to be necessary. This is a marbled carbon fiber. There are some voids in this one. No big deal to me because that's just... Sometimes I like to have just more natural carbon fiber, if you will. Not that it's a natural material, but sometimes it doesn't need to be perfect. Damascus pocket clip and the other side of the bolsters. Okay. Just very cool. Not hidden hardware on this side. So yeah, you can access this side to adjust the pivot is my guess. I have not taken this one apart. But if I look at my Homosaurus, it has removable bolsters on both sides. However, I have had that one apart and you only need to take off one bolster to adjust the pivot. One thing I wish there was a little bit more access to the liner lock. This particular one has no recess cutout for that. And it is still okay to get to, but I wish there was a little bit more room. Other than that, this thing is just really cool. So if we talk about some of the specs here, we got 5 1/8 closed, 9 inches overall. Like I said, it's still a big knife. However, this one is much more usable and practical than the others while still being a big knife. 3.8-inch blade, weighs in at 7 ounces, 7.3 ounces, runs on bearings. I don't have a problem with its size. Here is my VC Edge interface at a 3.6-inch blade. I am very comfortable carrying larger knives just in general. That 3 3/4 to 4 inch is kind of my sweet spot. Here it is with a custom Hellraiser. Roughly the same. Okay. So it all depends on what you are used to carrying or you like to carry. Here it is with the RJ Martin Q36SS. Roughly the same overall size. Roughly the same blade size. They carry much differently because, well, the SS is for super slim, and yes, that's what you get. However, Jeff makes an awesome knife. And you really can't find a lot wrong unless you're nitpicking. So next to the double homicide, let's just give you kind of a size with the double homicide. Let me see if I can get the Homosaurus in here also. Butt to butt. And I'm sure butt to butt, the Homosaurus isn't even going to fit in the frame all the way. Yeah. Crazy. That's what I love about it, is that Jeff goes out there above and beyond and does stuff that a lot of people aren't doing. Now, he is working on a build for me right now, which is a 6-inch instigator, which is going to be slightly longer than this guy all overall. Slightly longer blade. The instigator, as I've done a video on the prototype, works much better than this guy. This guy is a little bit big. This one actually works in the pocket really well. There is some lock bar relief cut out for this one, so it is no problem. But it's a big boy to flip and to hold. The instigator is much better flipper and a much better ergonomically designed knife. The double homicide is just super cool. So there you go. Jeff VanderMeulen, Barely Legal. Check him out. I'm going to put a link to his Instagram down below. His books are open right now. I believe they're still open. So he does make smaller knives. He makes a 3-inch instigator, a 4-inch instigator, a 5-inch instigator, and now a 6-inch instigator. He does make a homicide and a little homie, which is a smaller homicide. And there might even be a smaller Barely Legal. I don't know. He makes a lot of knives. That's the beauty of a small custom maker, is you can reach out and say, hey, I really like the Barely Legal, but could you make it with a 3-inch blade instead of a 3.8-inch blade? And he may be able to do that. I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but in talking to some of these makers that are just small and doing this, in their garages / shops, they're super accommodating. And if they can make something, oftentimes they will. And if you have certain materials that you want to use, you can talk to them. And that's not just Jeff. That's, the Fishers and just you name it. The custom maker that you would like, just reach out to them. Tell them, look, I really don't like Timascus. I want Mokume. I don't like the marbled carbon fiber. I want end cut carbon fiber, or I want it all titanium anodized bright purple. Like, the sky's the limit. And Jeff works with a lot of different exotic materials. He's done a lot of Damasteel blades, Sami blades, things like that. So you can really customize your custom knife to your tastes. And that's the beauty of it. So there you go. Please check out my VanderMeulen Bladeworks playlist up in the corner and have yourselves a fantastic day.